Well, I think you have to do that anyway.
An
actor's tool is his body, and it has nothing to do with the parts you're playing.
I am honestly proud to present the Hirschfeld Humanitarian Award to Charlton Heston.
From my cold, dead hands.
What if the man who defied empires on screen couldn't defy the silent thief stealing his mind? Charlton Heston, Hollywood's unshakable titan, the voice of Moses, the chariot king of Ben-Hur, sat alone in 2002 and whispered a confession that stopped the world. I may not be able to say goodbye. At 77, with a career that redefined cinema and a life that shaped history, he unveiled a hidden battle no epic role prepared him for. Was it Alzheimer's creeping in, or something deeper unraveling the legend? From commanding nations to marching with Dr. King, from Democrat roots to NRA defiance, Heston's story is a roller coaster of reinvention. But this twist? It's the one he couldn't outrun. Stick around because the truth behind his rise, his riches, and his reckoning will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about Hollywood's toughest hero. Let's rewind to where it all began, except no one's quite sure where that was. Born John Charles Carter, or maybe Charlton Carter, on October 4th, 1923 in Cook County, Illinois, the records say Evanston, but Heston swore it was Wilmette. Even his autobiography can't settle the debate, and by 1930, census logs listed him as Charlton J. Carter, though the tale goes he tweaked it later. Growing up in the lonely woods of St. Helen, Michigan, he was a self-proclaimed skinny hick, hunting and fishing in a world far from Tinseltown's sparkle. Then at 10, his parents split. His mom remarried Chester Heston, and the name Charlton stuck, borrowed not from her maiden name, but his grandma Marion Charlton. Mystery solved? Hardly. It's the kind of twist that makes you wonder what else we don't know about this icon. Fast forward to 1941, and here's a shocker. At 17, Heston debuted in Peer Gynt, a silent film in an era when talkies ruled. Sound films had been around since the late 20s, but he and his brother Alan took the plunge anyway, backed by Norwegian music and a bold vibe critics later called haunting. Sure, they dubbed it his least important role, but it was his first leap into the spotlight. That same year at Northwestern University, he met Lydia Clark in a theater class. Shy, broke, and juggling night gigs running elevators, he still swept her off her feet. By March 17, 1944, they tied the knot in Greensboro, North Carolina, kicking off a 64-year love story that outlasted Hollywood's wildest storms. Raising Fraser and Holly, their bond grew stronger, even as film shoots pulled them apart. Proof that behind the epic hero was a man who valued family above fame. Now, hold on to your seats because Heston's big break was pure destiny. In 1954, Cecil B. DeMille was casting The 10 Commandments, tossing around names like Kirk Douglas and Rock Hudson. Then, an Israeli sculpture of Michelangelo's Moses landed on his desk, and bam, Heston's face stared back. DeMille had doubts, scribbling in his diary about Heston's minister quality, but cast him anyway. Heston didn't just play Moses. He voiced God in the burning bush, and when his 3-month-old son Fraser appeared as baby Moses, it was a family affair. The 1956 epic made him the king of biblical blockbusters, a far cry from that Michigan kid with a fishing pole. But how did he go from commanding nations to confessing his frailty decades later? The drama peaks with Ben-Hur in 1959, Hollywood's most expensive gamble yet, and Heston almost didn't make the cut. MGM chased Burt Lancaster, Paul Newman, Marlon Brando, even Leslie Nielsen. Yes, pre-comedy. But they all said no. Lancaster found the script dull, Newman cringed at his last toga flop, and desperation had the studio eyeing Italian actors who didn't speak English. Enter William Wyler, who saw Heston's gravitas from The 10 Commandments. Collaborations with Wyler and DeMille doubled as entrepreneurial wins, leveraging his name for clout. Insurance-wise, he'd have locked down policies for health, assets, and those high-stakes film contracts. Protection for a career built on physical grit and charisma. Let's rewind to 1968, when Heston swerved from biblical epics to sci-fi glory with Planet of the Apes. After playing Moses and Ben-Hur, he feared being boxed into togas forever until this game-changer. Filming kicked off May 21, 1967, with actors slathered in foam rubber ape makeup for up to 7 hours, sipping liquid meals through straws in desert heat. The studio claimed a $1 million makeup tab, really $345,000, and off-camera gorillas chilled with gorillas, orangutans with orangutans. Wild, right? Heston's astronaut crash landing into a warped world flipped sci-fi on its head, proving he could reinvent himself. But here's the kicker. How did a guy who once led nations on screen end up admitting he couldn't hold on to his own story? Jump to 1971, and Heston's alone again in The Omega Man, a post-pandemic thriller that raked in $4 million. Playing a survivor in a world gone quiet, he brought funny action zingers Tim Burton later called desert island worthy. Then in 1973, Soylent Green threw a curveball. Set in a crumbling 2022 New York, it tackled climate chaos with a green-tinted lens and a twist so dark the original author despised it. Heston's detective uncovering a chilling secret kept audiences on edge, cementing his knack for dystopian grit. Fast forward to 2002, though, and the real dystopia was his diagnosis. Did those futuristic roles hint at a resilience he'd need off-screen? Hold your breath, because 1974's Earthquake shook things up, literally. At 50, Heston dodged 6-ton concrete blocks, filming with 141 stunt pros, the most ever at the time. Cameras rattled, elevators crashed, and he powered through, a physical force even as his career pivoted. Back in '72, he tried directing with Antony and Cleopatra, a passion project that tanked, recycled Ben-Hur shots and long close-ups, didn't save it from critics' wrath. Yet, that flop didn't dim his shine. From commanding chariots to facing tremors, Heston's journey screams adaptability. So why, decades later, did he confess to losing the one fight he couldn't win? Now, let's talk politics and principles, because Heston's story isn't just celluloid, it's conviction. In the 50s, he was a die-hard Democrat, stumping for Adlai Stevenson in '56 and cheering JFK's 1960 win. By '63, he was marching with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. at the Lincoln Memorial, leading the arts crew among 250,000 dreamers. He called King a 20th century Moses, a nod to his own iconic role, risking his career when Hollywood still tiptoed around civil rights. But wait, his views flipped. After '68's tragedies, he pushed for gun control, only to pivot by the late '90s, becoming NRA president in '98. Raising a rifle in 2000 with "From My Cold Dead Hands," he redefined himself again. What drove that seismic shift from marcher to gun rights warrior? Heston's Lux life matched his larger-than-life roles. Picture him rolling in a sleek Cadillac or Lincoln Continental, classics fit for a Screen King, or flashing a Rolex or Patek Philippe at premieres, timeless like his legacy. Real estate? Think a sprawling Beverly Hills estate, his home base until his 2008 passing, plus maybe a retreat or two from his peak earning days. Private jets weren't his era's norm, but chartered flights likely shuttled him between gigs. Business-wise, he might have sunk cash into film production or entertainment ventures, leveraging collaborations with directors like Weiler or DeMille into ownership stakes. Smart moves for a star with staying power. Insurance? He'd have had top-tier health plans from his 50s heyday, asset coverage for that luxe lifestyle, and career policies to shield against film flops or injuries, vital for a guy doing stunts at 50. So, what's the money lesson from Heston's epic arc? Diversify like he did. Epics to sci-fi, Dem to NRA, actor to activist. His '60 Broadway stumble with Olivier over a Marilyn Monroe gig taught him risks can pay off in wisdom, even if not cash. Soylent Green and Earthquake banked big. But Antony and Cleopatra floundered. He balanced hits with passion projects, a blueprint for building wealth without losing soul. Spending on cars and homes showed he savored success, yet that 64-year marriage to Lydia, weathering his globe-trotting and a 2000 rehab stint for wine, proves grounding matters more. In '98, a prostate cancer scare hit during hip surgery. He powered through radiation and work, cancer-free by '01. Resilience paid off, but Alzheimer's loomed. From a kid in Michigan woods to a voice that shaped culture, Heston's tale leaves us wondering, how do today's stars stack up, and what legacies will they leave when the lights dim?